UrbanBroadcastMedia.com Chicago.
And around the world where your voice is heard. This is UBM Talk.
Hello, this is Reverend Rick McCain, and I'm here with my baby, my girl, my boo, author Brenda McCain, and we're the hosts of the Let's Stay Together show.
That's right, baby, where you learn the rhythms of all relationships. We are bringing Holy Ghost fun to the internet and changing the way people communicate about quiet storms within their lives. We believe that to know our glory, you have to know what, baby?
Our backstory.
So come and take a ride on the McCain train every Tuesday from 8 to 9 p.m. Woo woo!
A Vibrant Mix is back with a new format.
Same informative and vibrant topics.
And a new co-host.
Yep, we heard you, and Cousin Fred is on permanently.
Hey, this is Fred. Join us every Friday from noon until 1. Same great conversation, same vibrant mix.
A Vibrant Mix with Tasha
and Tamiko
and Fred.
Right here on UrbanBroadcastMedia.com.
Lord, how did I get in between T and T?
Watch out, Fred. We're explosive.
Have you ever seen grandparents who are always on the move? Well, let me introduce you to Mr. Lorenzo Young, Miss Hermeline Jones, Miss Lenora Lusk, Miss Rose Henderson, Miss Doris Riley, and yours truly, Marie Johnson. Join us every Saturday morning from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on UBM Talk. Grandparents on the move, we don't rock, we roll.
The Damon Williams Show.
We went to the set of Arsenio. We were in the audience. And anytime you see a white woman with a clipboard, chances are that person's going to be on TV. They're going to put a little dab of whipped cream here and here and here. That heifer squeezed that whole damn can of whipped cream all over my face. And then after she licked it off, my little dirty old man neighbor, who never has 2 words to say, I look out, he's standing at his Sunday best. So you like whipped cream, huh?
The Damon Williams Show, Wednesdays, 2 to 4 p.m. on UBM Talk.
The following show is paid programming and does not necessarily express the views and opinions of Urban Broadcast Media and its subsidiaries.
Thank you for listening to UBM Talk.
Hey guys, you have joined the Diva MD show with Dr. Shanika Williams. Thank you so much for joining me. It is Saturday, 3 o'clock. You are on time, right on the dot. We have a very, very, very special show planned for you guys. If you all do not know, this month is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we're actually doing a show dedicated to that. Domestic violence affects so many different people in so many different ways. I bet if I was to ask you, is there anybody in the audience who knows someone who has been affected by domestic violence in some way, to raise your hand, and I guarantee at least half of the room would raise their hand. I can actually raise my hand as well. I was in actually a mutually abusive relationship myself in a not so distant past. We had actually been dating for about 3 years, and 6 months in, we decided to move in together, and we thought everything was gravy, but apparently we did not get along very well. I was in a very difficult place at that time. We ended up physically fighting, and quite often. The relationship was very, very explosive, and it was very damaging to my character, to my psyche. I was in like I said, a very, very dark place at the time, and was very depressed and just not feeling like myself, almost suicidal, actually suicidal in on multiple occasions, because I just felt like the world was caving in around me. The person, made me feel as if I was not beautiful, that I was not to be loved, that, I was never that person's type in the first place, and that I should be grateful and thankful that this person, basically chose me. And I was also financially dependent on that person. and felt like if I, left this relationship, and it wasn't just this person beating on me. No. We fought. This was a mutually exclusive event with us. We would both go at it, but the psychological impact that had was just devastating, just completely devastating, and it affected other relationships in the future, because I just didn't trust people and didn't want to really have, just a real solid relationship. There was paranoia and belief that, this person was cheating on me, and just everything that came with it was very upsetting and very devastating. So, to all of the women, and it actually took a very serious situation where I could have not been, Dr. Shanika Williams. I could have been easily in an orange jumpsuit and been another number in the county jail because of, how explosive that relationship was. But thank God, literally thank God that for his saving grace, period. Because, after that event, I was able to get out of the relationship, out of that situation, and be the person that God had decided that he wanted me to be. So, not everybody has that flip side. Not everybody has that great story to tell afterwards. Sometimes women are murdered. Sometimes women disappear, and you never know. And not just women, men too get abused, and they don't have those stories to tell. But today we're going to rectify some of that by at least bringing awareness to the situation. It's time that women and men start speaking out on domestic violence issues. If you feel as though you or your loved one or a friend or family member is experiencing abuse, then you definitely need to take that time and call someone so that they can get the help that they need. I promise you, if you Google domestic violence hotlines, there are 1 million hotlines that can call, whether it's a national hotline, which is the hotline.org, or if it's your local hotline, that there is help out there and that you can get out of the situation. This is not a situation that you have to be stuck in, that you have to maintain in. You can definitely come out of it. So it's definitely worth it to reach out and get help for you or your loved ones. According to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, domestic violence is the third leading cause of homelessness among families. Survivors of domestic violence face high rates of depression, sleep disturbances, anxiety, flashbacks, emotional stress. So these are factors that contribute to the poor health of many survivors. Chronic conditions like heart disease, gastrointestinal disorders can become more serious due to domestic violence. Some other just interesting facts, some very sad facts actually, is that 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence during her lifetime. Women experience more than 4 million physical assaults and rapes because of their partners, and men are victims of nearly 3 million physical assaults. Can you imagine that? So 1 in 4 women. Usually when you're going out with your friends and you're hanging out with your buddies, it's usually maybe 4 or 5 of you all hanging out at one time. Can you imagine just knowing that possibly one of your 4 or 5 homies that you're going to the club with is actually experienced domestic violence in their home and you don't even know it? Sometimes they don't even show the outward signs of abuse. You look at TV shows that, kind of bring awareness to domestic violence. One show comes to mind is the Bill Cosby show where little Jada Pinkett her friend was getting abused. I can't remember her name, the curly haired one, the one that talked real funny. Okay, I can't remember her name. But she actually showed the signs. She had the bruises on her face. She was wearing the dark glasses, and Jada Pinkett kind of stepped in and, was able to get her some help and help her get out of the situation. But sometimes situations aren't resolved in an episode, right? So you have somebody who may not necessarily be showing those outward signs with the bruises on her face. She may have bruises on her body, and therefore she's covering up, that he's hitting her, or she's hitting her in places that you might not necessarily see. And, if you start to notice change in behavior in your friend, she turning up a little bit more than usual, or, she's drinking a little bit more alcohol than usual, times like that, you need to actually sit down, and really have a discussion with your friend. I could not imagine, one of my 4 or 5 girls who have all been on this show, actually experiencing that and me not know it. It would break my heart. It would hurt my heart. And I would definitely want to do something about it. Women are more likely to be killed by an intimate partner than men. And the women that are at risk are ages 20 to 24. They're at the greatest risk of becoming victims of domestic violence. Every year, 1 in 3 women who is a victim of homicide is murdered by her current or former partner. That is a interesting fact because a few years back, we all had a friend. She wasn't a close friend, but she was friends of friend. And, she ended up being killed by her partner. And, they found her body in the woods, and it was just this big, huge thing. And no one could even believe it that, he would do something like that. And she was our age at the time. I was in my late 20s. So it's closer than you think. We always say that there is at least 6 degrees of separation between people. But apparently 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence during her lifetime. So, that's a very close number. That's less than the 6 degrees that you may just know somebody off a GP. Interestingly enough, domestic violence is most likely to occur between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. So in the nighttime, in the wee hours of the morning, perhaps, after the partner is coming home from a night out with friends and has been drinking. Alcohol can play, a huge role in domestic violence and kind of fueling that fire. After the person comes home from work at 6 p.m., it's time for dinner. My dinner is not, put on the table the way it's supposed to be. And that leads to, some type of domestic altercation. So usually between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. when you get those late phone calls in the night saying, hey, there's something going on. This is when the police are knocking at the door. Something's going on in apartment 2A. Among women brought to the emergency rooms due to domestic violence, most were socially isolated and had fewer social and financial resources than other women not injured because of domestic violence. Again, among women brought to emergency rooms due to domestic violence, most were socially isolated and had fewer social and financial resources than other women not injured because of domestic violence. So the purpose of the attacker is to isolate you. It becomes a mind game. So that you do not hang with your friends and you don't talk to your friends like you used to. You become just very isolated. You're not allowed to go out of the house for long periods of time. You just become just completely isolated so that they believe that the attacker is the only person in the world that can save them. And then people often ask, well, why do women stay, or why do, victims stay? And people might not understand why anyone would stay in that abusive relationship. They think this is the myth that victims are often to blame, that they did something to cause this person to act this way. Oh, they must have cheated. Oh, they must have been looking at someone else. Oh, whatever they may say, the victim is the one to blame, and that is so not true. They falsely believe that if they stay, that the person is weak or needy. This is not true either. being in a relationship with an abusive person has many factors as to why a person stays and why a person leaves. Changing or ending any relationship is hard, and it can be even harder when the relationship is abusive. Some of the reasons that people stay are some conflicting emotions. Abusers use verbal, emotional, and physical violence along with apologies and promises and affection to control their victims. So 1 minute, they are, and you'll hear this. This is kind of like one of the things that people say. Oh, yeah, when I first met this person, they were so charming. He just swept me off my feet. And usually abusers are very charismatic. So you meet them, they're loving, they're affectionate, they're kind. And those are the things that, people desire in a desirable relationship. So once the abuse starts, they'll begin to tear that person down bit by bit, until they have completely controlled their emotions. So they are apologetic. Oh, babe, I am so sorry. I'll never hit you again. I'll never do anything like that. I was just so angry when I walked through the door, and, I had been drinking, or, I had, taken a hit of this, and, that's not how I really am, and I love you, and I want to be with you. And they get those apologies and those promises, and maybe even buy gifts to make up for those physically violent times, and then they become abusive again. So you have this alteration of painful times and then the loving moments. So what do you do with that? Those are very conflicting emotions. One day you're this way, the other day, the next day you're that. Like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Who am I to believe? Who are you? Is what a victim may be thinking, and they want to see the better person. They want to see that more positive image. So they stay trying to elicit those positive emotions, trying to do the things that are pleasing to their partner so that they can remain in their partner's good graces, so to speak. There's also shame. Victims can often feel tremendous shame and embarrassment and use denial as a way of coping with the abuse. So someone may even come to them and say, for the past couple of weeks, I've been seeing random bruises on your body. Is everything okay at home? And the victim is shameful. They will deny. No, everything is great. Hit me. Why would they do that? I love my husband, or I love my partner. Why would they do something like that? And deny. And they use that as a coping mechanism. And that's also a form of social isolation, because they're not able to discuss what's going on with them at the time of the abuse. So you have shame, you have conflicting emotions, and then there's also some safety concerns. There are times when the abuser actually threatens to kill the partner or himself or the children if the partner leaves. And I keep saying him because the majority of victims are women. But just know that, as I talk, that this can go either way. So they're concerned for either the safety of themselves, the victim. They're concerned for the safety of their partner, who says that if you leave me, I can't live without you. I will kill myself. And if you love that person, if they love them, then what do you do with that? Or they threaten to kill the children. Women are very protective of their children, and they want to make sure that their children are safe. So they will stay in the relationship for out of fear for their children's safety. Then there's also lack of money and resources. Money is often tightly controlled, so a woman may fear losing financial support and may question, how will she be able to support herself and her children? Especially women who are elderly or disabled, they may feel like they have no other options than to stay with an abusive partner, because they feel like no one else is going to take care of them. And if you're just tuning in, I'm just going to let you know this is the Diva MD show with Dr. Shanika Williams. I am bringing awareness to domestic violence. This is Domestic Violence Month in October. And you're listening live to Urban Broadcast Media, UBM Talk. And if you're interested in calling into the show, you can call us at 312-754-4333. So right now I'm talking about why victims choose to stay in these types of relationships. And sometimes the partner is more financially secure. He may be the breadwinner of the family, and therefore is more is able to support the family. So if you have a wife that is staying at home or is making considerably less than her partner, she may choose to stay in the relationship for fear that she may lose financial support. Then there's depression and isolation. We talked a little bit about isolation, but let's dive into the depression. Abuse can leave victims depressed and emotionally drained. And I talked a little bit about my situation in the beginning, how when I was in this relationship for 3 years, even though it was mutually physical and violent, I suffered tremendously from depression and suicidal thoughts and not wanting to be here, feeling very low. It was a very low time of my life. And this can make doing anything hard, let alone leaving your abusive partner. The abuser tries to isolate victims from families and friends so that the victims don't have anyone to support them if they do leave. So, if you decide to, what, I'm not going to take this, and everybody says this, looking from the outside in, first thing people say, I wish a dude would. I wish he would lay his hands on me with the neck rolling and the fingers popping, all of that at the same time, But get put in that situation and see how, difficult it may be to actually leave that situation. Especially if you are depressed and you have now become isolated from your family and friends and you have no real support system. You may have also cultural or religious pressures. In some cases, religious counselors, relatives, or friends may encourage women to stay to keep the family together no matter what. Some believe that divorce is a sin and that no, you should not divorce your spouse. But those are some of the issues. Then there's also questions of custody. Who gets the kids? Women worry a lot about losing custody of her children if they decide to leave. If she decides to leave, especially if she's not the one that's more financially stable. And then she's concerned. Oh, now I have this diagnosis of depression as well. Will I think I'm even mentally fit to handle my children? So there's a lot of factors that really go into why women stay. But do know that there is help out there, that there is a way to get away from your abuser, that there are ways to remove yourself from such a harmful place. There are protective agencies. Again, if you feel that you are in an abusive relationship, or you have a partner that is, or a friend or family member or loved one who has experienced abuse in the family, in their domestic situation, then please pick up the phone, go online, call, or go to the hotline, thehotline.org. That is the national hotline for domestic abuse. And then there are also local hotlines and local agencies. You are a click away. You are a keyboard stroke away from your freedom and becoming the woman or man that God has intended you to be. So please step out on faith, step out, open up your mouth, and, share your story, because you want to be a success story. You want to be the story that, there is no shame in this. You want to be the story that you can tell your friends that you overcame, and not have your families and friends attending your funeral because you were unable to get out safely. So please take the time to definitely do that. As you all know, this is the Diva MD show with Dr. Shanika Williams. Diva stands for Discovering Your Innermost Valuable Assets. I'm a firm believer that women can be empowered, knowing that, there's something so much more inside of them than what is on the outside. You are more than just a shell. You are more than just your looks. You are more than just your hair, your nails, your body type. You are so much more. And I want women to discover what makes them tick. What are their innermost valuable assets? And going along with the diva thing, I frequently do diva-isms for different topics, and those are 4 key points that I want you to take away from whatever it is I'm talking about, whether it's diabetes, whether it's obesity, whether it's just health, wellness, fitness. And this one in particular I did for domestic violence. Okay, so D is discipline their partner. Why do abusers abuse their partners? They do it as discipline. They want to make sure that that their partner stays in line, that they do what they want them to do when they want them to do it. It is a control mechanism. I is to invoke fear. They want to invoke fear of their partner. They want them to be fearful so that they can control them. Who wants to fear their partner? No one wants to fear. No one should fear anyone except for God, period. So, there is fire inside of you. You can definitely, not be fearful of your partner and try and move on and seek the help that you need to end this crazy cycle of domestic violence. V is to validate themselves. The abuser wants to validate that they're the man, they're the woman, they're the ones that's running things. They have the financial backing, they have the smarts, they have the looks. They are usually ones that have lower self-esteem and need to use you, the abused, to lift themselves up. And it's just not right. And then A is, actually the V goes into A. So validate themselves while A, annihilating their partner's self-confidence. So they want to put you in a position so that you feel lower than low, that you have no one else to look up to but them, that they are your savior. And I'm here to tell you that they are definitely not your savior. There's only one savior, Jesus Christ himself. And they cannot compete with them. They are another man. They are another human being. It's another woman who does not have the power over you. Empower yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back every day. Give yourself an affirmation every day. Look in the mirror every day saying that that there is a king or queen in you and that you have the power to move on and get past this. Like I said, you want this test to turn into a testimony, okay? We do not want to have your families and friends visiting you in the grave. So again, this is Dr. Shanika Williams here with the Diva MD show. It's such a serious and touching topic for me, and I can relate to a lot of the stories that I hear. And if I can get out of a situation and do better, so can you. Every one of you, every last one of you who may be going through some type of abusive situation. So if you're interested in following me, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/divamd.discoveryourself. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at DivaMD929. Follow me on Instagram. You see, a million affirmations on why you're beautiful and why you are wonderfully and perfectly created. So I would love for you to follow me on that page. And also don't forget to download the UBM app on Google Play and Apple. And you can tune in and listen to any of the shows on UBM Talk at any time. This is such an amazing and awesome app, and I hope that you guys take advantage of it. Coming up next hour, we will have a survivor of domestic violence give us a call, and we'll chat with her and hear her amazing story of survival and change and perseverance. So make sure you come back after the commercial break.
Hello, this is Leon Finney, your host of Another Perspective on UrbanBroadcastMedia.com. We are the voice of Black America. Join me and my guests every Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. as we discuss the issues that impact Black America. Tune in to UBM Talk on UrbanBroadcastMedia.com, the simulcast on our affiliate station WBON 1690 AM. That's Another Perspective every Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. And you can run and tell that.
Have you ever seen grandparents who are always on the move? Well, let me introduce you to Mr. Lorenzo Young, Miss Hermeline Jones, Miss Lenora Lusk, Miss Rose Henderson, Miss Doris Riley, and yours truly, Marie Johnson. Join us every Saturday morning from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on UVM Talk. Grandparents on the move, we don't rock, we roll.
My name is Coach Thomas. I am a fitness, health, and nutrition coach and member of the Illinois Governor's Council on Health and Physical Fitness. Make sure you check out Change for the Better with Coach Thomas Sunday nights from 7 to 8 p.m. We will discuss topics and feature guests that will give you helpful tips and advice on how to create healthier habits that will lead to a healthier lifestyle. Make sure you check out Change for the Better with Coach Thomas, where we focus on healthy kids and healthy communities.
Tune in to Change for the Better with Coach Thomas, Sundays 7 to 8 p.m. only on UrbanBroadcastMedia.com.
Hey everybody, check us out Monday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. for the new radio show Rated Life with
it's your boy Morris Spicer,
your boy Dex Pierce, Mrs. Just My Thoughts,
Pat Price,
and me, your girl Lex.
Lex, what are we gonna be talking about?
Everything is life, yes.
Wait, no, I ain't gonna do it.
Do it for Rated Life.
I ain't gonna do it.
Do it for Rated Life.
I ain't gonna do it.
Anyway, just make sure that you tune in to UBM Talk at UrbanBroadcastMedia.com and join our Rated Life Facebook page for more information. It's Rated Life, y'all.
It's UBM Talk on UrbanBroadcastMedia.com. Call us at 312-754-4333 and get in on the conversation.
Hey guys, we're back with the Diva MD show with Dr. Shanika Williams. Thank you guys for tuning back in. We are actually on a very explosive topic, talking about domestic violence and how it affects individuals. Some of the facts that I gave earlier, but I wanted to give just one more time, is that 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence during her lifetime. Women are more likely to be killed by an intimate partner than men, and women ages 20 to 24 are at greatest risk of becoming victims of domestic violence. I'm so happy to have on the line with me Miss Patrice, who called in all the way from the other side of this nation, from California. Patrice, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hey, Patrice, can you speak up just a little bit?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
A little bit more, a little bit louder.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, how you doing, Patrice?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining me on this show. Patrice actually found me on Instagram or Facebook or one of those and decided that she wanted to tell her story so that she can be a blessing to somebody else. So Patrice, you can go ahead and I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just going to let you, tell your story and I'll chime in every now and then. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so as I am a survivor, I started at a very young age. I was 16 when I got in a relationship with a guy who was abusive, and I was young and dumb. Thought that the right thing to help him and save him.
Hold on, Patrice. Patrice?
Yes.
I'm sorry, honey. You are breaking up.
Okay, I'm going to hang up and call back.
Okay, that'll be great. I'll sit on the line for you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, guys. So we were just on the line with Patrice. She's calling in live from California, and she started off with her story, if I'm not correct, that she was 16 when she first started dating this person and experienced some domestic violence. So, you know, even what's interesting is that if young kids see their parents abusing a spouse or abusing the other parent, they are more likely, the children are more likely to either be, one, susceptible to abuse as an adult or even in their teenage years, or may actually become the abuser. So, you know, it's very important that, you know, that one, abuse does not go on in the family structure, and two, that the kids are, you know, left out of this. You know, they often see, you know, their parent or someone getting hurt, and you know, it has a psychological effect on them as well. Patrice, are you back on the line? Hello?
Hello.
Patrice?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We got you. So I was telling him a little bit about you were 16 when you first started dating this person.
I was, and he was 19. And he was a serial, I'll say. And I was too young to date in the first place. So, you know, a lot of embarrassment. I guess I had too much pride. So I didn't talk to parents or my friends. I just tried to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But by the time I got here in college, and I was, you know, growing into my womanhood, learning a lot more about myself, I was more sure of myself. I realized, like, I can't continue to try to help through it. And so I got out of the place. But I spent a lot of time, I wasted a lot of time with him, and, you know, watching him continue to hurt me. It was mostly because I would find out how there would be a fight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So tell me about, and again, if you could move around in the house or something, you're still breaking up a little and we're still having a difficult time hearing you. But if you can tell us a little bit about how you all first met, how this person was when you first met them, and then, you know, how did the abuse start?
When we first met, we were in high school. We met in the summer. School was out. And he seemed like I guess in the beginning, but pretty early on, maybe less than a year after dating. So I was looking to go to prom, and because he had graduated already, I attended prom with me,
mm-hmm.
and he didn't want me to go to my friends, which for me, I couldn't understand why that was such a big deal. I'm just going to prom. I want to dress up. It's my big prom. And that was the first grabbed me and, you know, put his hands on me and just, you know, made threats. I was scared. And I was like, what's wrong with you? And he was like, if you say anything, I don't have to do anything.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, that really put a lot of fear in me because I didn't want him to do anything to my mother.
Sure, sure.
And so I go to my prom, and as time went on, it got worse. That time he didn't like punch me or anything, but, you know, it was aggressive behavior. And as time progressed, it got worse.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up at one with a black eye from him hitting me, and he hit me, and then I hit him back. Afterwards, he told me, sorry, I don't help myself. Why I was doing this to you. And I felt guilt. I have to help him through this. But I realized there was nothing I could do to help him, especially since he wasn't attempting to help himself.
Right. So you had a lot of emotions going on at that time. You felt protective of your family because you didn't want him to hurt you or your family member. You felt
Right.
the fear, because you weren't expecting that of him. The feelings of guilt, because you felt in some way, you caused him to feel that way or to do that to you. Am I right?
I don't think I ever felt like I caused it. I felt like it was something wrong with him.
Oh, I see.
And I kind of felt guilty, walked away, trying my best, I guess, to help him.
Mm-hmm. So you wanted to help
I
him more so.
Yeah, I wanted to fix him.
And that's what us
And
women
so
do,
I-
right? We want to fix. We want to fix the problem. We want to fix our mates.
Right. But we can't.
So there were multiple times you said that you came home with a black eye.
Well, there was one that I had a black.
What did your mom say?
Well, by then I was living with my mother, so didn't see it.
Okay. And did you discuss any of your problems with your friends?
I did with one friend. But we're a foreigner. My parents are believed it. My friend was different. The guy I was dating at the time, and I think culturally, domestic violence is very high in those places.
I see. Can you repeat those places again? I heard Belize. I didn't hear the other ones.
Belize and Jamaica.
Jamaica. Okay.
Yeah. So domestic violence is accepted.
Oh wow.
It's almost as if this is what we do. This is how we keep our women check. And so, I kind of felt stupid, wanting somebody in discussion.
Say it one more time.
I said I felt trying to talk to somebody about it, so I didn't.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that has to be tough when you're here in the States and you hear that domestic violence is wrong, but then you come from a country where it's culturally accepted.
Right.
So that definitely had to be tough. So how many years were you with this person?
5 years.
5 years. And what made you stay? And how often was the abuse?
Okay, I stayed because I thought that I could. And it wasn't every day. It probably was twice a year when we got into real altercation. I learned how to fight. I how to fight my boyfriend, which is not a good thing to say. And I finally left. I think as I grew and was in college and taking different courses, I was just learning more about myself. And it empowered me and to give me the strength to say, I don't need to do this more. And also, where I was working, I was meeting people who saw me for who I was.
Right.
Even though they didn't know what I was through, because, again, I didn't discuss with anybody. Just knowing that somebody cared enough to talk to me and see who I was made me feel like I deserved it.
Sure.
So I walked away.
Let me ask you this. When you walked away, did he threaten any type of repercussions? Was he going to hurt you or anyone in your family? How were you able to just walk away?
It wasn't an easy departure. Like, we got into a fight, and he started throwing my stuff out the house, and I packed my car up and in the middle of the street crying, and we had just really been outside fighting. And I put all my stuff in the car, drove to my mom's house, and I just knew the last time we had got into this fight, I told him, put your hands on me again. And that's where I was. I believed I had to stand by that. So I did. And it wasn't an easy thing for him. He tried to get me to come back. He did things that showed his nice side, but I still was internally, and I just couldn't go back to that. He didn't threaten me. he was sad, he was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I had to stand my ground,
Mm-hmm.
take it anymore.
Now, do you think that, like, where did he get his behavior from? Was there abuse in his family prior, or was there abuse in your
Yeah.
family?
He got it from his father. You know, it's what he saw growing.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw them growing up with my dad. So,
You say you saw it growing up with your dad as well?
yeah, and even though I guess it made me more likely to accept it because I didn't discuss it. I didn't deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, did you find anything helpful in your adult years to kind of help you cope with what you went through back then? You know, as far as support groups or talking to other people, therapy, anything that you found to be helpful once you got out?
I never did any therapy, but I always used my own life experiences in talking with kids, teenagers, for the age that I was, try to help them navigate the group so that their experiences don't mimic mine.
Mm-hmm.
So within my family, you know, my family friends, try to help them avoid the junk I had to do. The same things I put myself.
Sure, sure. And they say that talking is the best therapy in itself, right?
I believe it is.
Mm-hmm. Being able to share your story and tell your story and hopefully, you know, help somebody else, you know, that is not only self-gratifying, but it serves a purpose to actually be a blessing to somebody else. So I definitely commend you for going back and talking to other teenage girls, you know, because right now it's very interesting, this culture that we in, the climate of our culture. Is pretty much anything goes. Women are, you know, fighting men and men fighting women. There's a total lack of disrespect and a sense of morals and values, and, you know, to uphold a woman as a queen or a princess. You know, so I think society plays a huge role in some of this, you know, our domestic violence issues. Because we are teaching our kids, unfortunately, to not respect their elders, not to respect women. They are bees and hoes, and you know what I mean? And, you know, once you have that mentality, you know, it's very tough to come out of that, you know, and actually have a productive and wonderful relationship. You know, relationships are built on something totally different these days.
Yeah, what's up? Okay.
Say it again.
I said, yeah, I have children myself.
Mm-hmm. How old are your kids?
My oldest is almost 12 and my youngest is 4.
Okay, 12 and 4. Okay. So what are you teaching your 12-year-old? Are you at home with?
I'm sorry. Sons and daughters. My daughters are in the middle.
Oh, you have 3.
I have 4. I have 5 kids.
Wait. You break it up again. You have 4 or 5?
I have 5 kids at home.
5 kids at home. Okay. And the oldest is 12 and the youngest is 4.
Right.
Okay. And then your girls, you said, are in the middle.
Right.
Okay. So are you starting to teach them early? Are you starting to teach them now? Because I'm assuming they're 9, 10, 8.
And they fight dogs. It's usually the 12-year-old fights the 10-year-old girl because she is very upset, likes to pick on people. And so I teach all of them. You know, it's not okay to. I don't want to raise children and relive things that I've had to live. So I don't agree with my son hitting my daughter and vice versa because it goes both ways. And so, you know, they get a lecture. You know, we discuss it. mostly I talk and they, but I just keep pushing it in because I refuse to raise children who put other people in the position that I was in.
Absolutely.
Because of their own.
Absolutely.
So I want them to be able to know at an early age, you know, we talk about things, how to deal with they can't harbor these feelings. They blow up, they explode. I think that was what the problem was that I was in.
Sure. No, that makes complete sense. Let me read a little bit about some of these statistics for families. It says every year, more than 3 million children witness domestic violence in their homes. Children who live in homes where there is domestic violence also suffer abuse or neglect at high rates, the rates being 30 to 60%. In 2005, a Michigan study found that children exposed to domestic violence at home are more likely to have health problems, including becoming sick more often, having frequent headaches or stomach aches, and being more tired and lethargic than usual. And then also a 2003 study found that children are more likely to intervene when they witness severe violence against the parent, which can place a child at great risk for injury or even death. I don't know if you watch How to Get Away with Murder. Do you watch that show?
Yes.
So you saw the episode on this past Thursday where they had the court case for the mother who was actually being abused by her husband, and her son witnessed that, year after year, and the mother never wanted to, never made a report. And that's another statistic, is that, most domestic violence incidences are not reported. So she didn't want to report them because her husband was a police officer, and those friends, his friends would come to the house, and not protect her and say that, she was lying or something like that. So she never reported her domestic abuse. And her son ended up, and I'm sorry if I'm ruining it for you guys who DVR. You might want to click the show out, click this show off right now and then come back. But she ended up killing, the child ended up killing the father because of the severe abuse that he was inflicting on his mother. So, with these children witnessing these severe violence acts against the parent, that can actually place that child at risk for harming himself or harming someone else. So it's not just an isolated, husband and wife, partner with partner. It's not just isolated that, especially if you have children. So if they see, the abuse going on, there's a chance that the child is being abused as well, or the child is being neglected because the parents are so into themselves, into their current situation, and not paying attention to that child. So, definitely, I'm very happy that you are taking the time out now to, even though your children do not witness anything like that, but to still instill into them now, those seeds of respect and, how to treat a young lady or how to treat a guy in a relationship. So I definitely commend you for that.
Well, thank you.
And
I think it's our job.
You say what now?
I said I think it's our job.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Make that are better than we are.
Say it one more time.
I said to make sure that we are better than we were.
Absolutely, to push them further than where we are. Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly, 100%. So this is the Diva MD show with Dr. Shanika Williams. And you guys know that Diva stands for Discovering Innermost Valuable Assets. And I ask every diva that comes on this show, and Patrice, yes, you are a diva, to tell me what is their innermost valuable asset.
My heart.
Yes. Elaborate.
Well, I have a heart filled with love, even though it's been beaten, bruised, and damaged on so many levels, different reasons. I never let go of love because I think that love is a multitude of different And I think that's my most valuable.
Is
Still able to love even through my pain.
Yes, that's huge. That's huge. And some women, love to their detriment. But if you can love someone from a distance, you can definitely do that. You can definitely help someone from a distance. You don't have to put yourself, and I think Patrice is a prime example of this. You do not have to put yourself in the line of fire to help somebody else with their issues of abuse. Her boyfriend at the time had witnessed abuse with his father. Was he abused as well?
No, he wasn't.
He was not. He just witnessed his dad with his mom.
Right.
Okay, and then the same thing with you?
Yes.
My
dad was.
You say your dad?
With my stepmom.
With your stepmom. Did he abuse you as well?
No, he didn't.
Okay. So again, children of abused families, and these Patricia and her boyfriend at the time are prime examples of how if you witness abuse in your family, you can either become a victim of abuse, as Patrice was, or become the aggressor, as her ex-boyfriend was at the time. Patrice was with him for 5 years and decided that enough was enough, that she wanted more for herself. She wanted to have a healthy relationship, which I'm sure she has now with 5 beautiful children. And she wanted more. And, if you are listening to this radio broadcast and you are being abused or know someone who is being abused, again, call those hotlines. The national hotline is thehotline.org, or you can find a local hotline or organization that assists with domestic violence, as well as getting you out of the situation in the safest way possible. This is not something that you have to deal with. Like Patrice said, her innermost valuable asset is her heart, and that she's able to love, and was even able to love through the abuse. And she loved him so much that she left him. Okay, so you do not have to. Amen. You do not have to stay in a situation to love someone. You can love them from a distance, and you can help them or assist them in getting help from a distance. Don't put yourself in the line of fire. You are not a punching bag. You are not their stress relief. You are supposed to be their partner in life, their partner in love. And if that person does not respect you as such, then, empower yourself, look at yourself in the mirror every day and say, you can leave, you deserve better, you are beautiful, and you can do better. So, guys, this has been an amazing show. Patrice, I really appreciate you calling in and telling us your story. I'm sure that the listeners have been very blessed from, your experience. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And Patrice, you can come back anytime. I'm going to find another topic for you to talk about. And you can come back and visit the Diva MD show next time you're in Chicago. Stop by the studio on Saturdays, 3 to 4 p.m. You know where I will be, right?
Do.
Absolutely, guys. If you want to follow the Diva MD, which is Dr. Shanika Williams, which is myself. I love speaking about myself in third person. You can find me on Instagram at DivaMD929 or Twitter DivaMD929, or you can find me on Facebook. You can also download the Diva MD app. It's called Diva MD Healthy You, and it has all the information you need to listen to the show live or listen to previous shows. You can book an appointment with me if you need a doctor and you live in the Chicago area. And you can also follow all of my social media. Guys, please make sure you also download the UBM app on your Google Talk or Apple. That way you can listen to any of the shows that come on this station. There are some great shows that come on a daily basis, so make sure that you tune in. Guys, that is my time. You hear the Diva MD in the back? Hey, I'm a diva. I'm a diva. I love that song, guys. I'm gonna miss you until next week. See you next Saturday, 3 to 4 p.m. Love you.